Guys, welcome back to Kryptonite, because I believe that cryptocurrency and the blockchain are the kryptonite of our modern financial system. And I love it, and we need it bad right now. Now, before I get into this video, guys, you can make sure to like and subscribe to my channel. It really helps me out, helps support the channel. Also, I'm going to link again that app, Ember, which I mine free Satoshis on. I'm going to link that in the description, so make sure you use my referral link. Get yourself some literally free sats, some free Satoshis, and you help me because I'll be able to get more Satoshis at a higher rate. Literally, you press a button once a day and it mines you free Satoshis. So Ember app, I'm going to leave that in the comment section. Make sure you use that referral. Download the app and get some free Bitcoin, dude. It's it. Press a button once a day, free Bitcoin. Now, before I get into the video, guys, just want to give a shout out to my boy back here, Tom Brady, with another dub tonight, baby. Let's go. For those of you who know that I do live in Florida, so although I was a Brady fan before I moved here, but now I'm even more of a Brady fan than I was. Now, as far as a rant for you guys today, I don't think I have any rant items for the day, to be honest. I pretty much just, today was literally a watch football all day and be on the charts all day. That's pretty much all I did. So I actually didn't update myself on any of the new. I'll probably do that right after this video. I'll probably get caught up on everything going on. But I do know what's going on in the charts because I've been on the charts all day. Guys, I made a lot of trades today. A lot. Now, for those of you who watched my last video, you know that I decreased my betting size quite a bit because I realized through journaling, which if you're not journaling and trading, you are going to fail. Just going to be honest with you. Like, journaling is basically a necessity in trading, unless you're some sort of genius. So I was journaling about why I was struggling, and I realized it had to do with realizing that, with the small accounts that I have, it is just so hard to grow small accounts because you cannot risk that much because you have to have enough capital to deal with, a streak of losses, right, which happen to every single trader, no matter how good you are. And so you have to only risk a certain amount of your portfolio. And so if you have a really small account, it's really, really hard to grow if you're risk managing well. So I was frustrated that my small accounts were growing, but were not growing at the pace I wanted. And so I started betting heavier. And then when I started betting heavier, it started to mess with my psychology. I started to take worse trades. I started to revenge trade. And I wasn't not able to hold trades because I was too worried about the amount of money that I was losing compared to what I have in my account and trying to make that account, last and grow. So decrease the betting size, and I actually hit on a few trades today that were not. I actually hit three. I was 3 for 1 on trades just from lowering my bet size. Like, it automatically reduced a lot of that anxiety trading wise. Because I knew, even if I lost a trade, it wasn't going to blow my account. And knowing that, having that calmness of mind allowed me to then trade better. So I'd highly recommend, if you're someone that's struggling with trading, look at your bet size and try to figure out what bet size can you make it set a trade and you don't even care if you lose the money. Like, that has to be, unfortunately, even if you might want to bet super heavy, but if you are only comfortable betting 10 and losing $10 per trade because your account is small, you will trade better because you make a trade and you're like, I don't care if I lose $10. I don't give a crap. Like, the anxiety goes away. So as soon as I decreased my betting size, my anxiety went way down, and then my trading went way up, and I went 3 for 1 on trades. So I'll get into the trades a little later on, as I always do. Show you guys why I got into those and how I won them. And then, so first off, let's jump into Bitcoin here on the monthly charts, printing this nice green candle at a pretty strong support range. Still, though, on the monthly, does just kind of look like a bear channel. So if you look at the monthly, you're kind of like, it's not looking all that wonderful. RSI, we aren't quite actually at those real oversold levels. And then, as you can see here on the MACD, we're starting. That's usually the kind of the start of potentially a turnaround. But as you can see here, look, we hit the peak of our MACD, and we did come down, but we did make one more high. Even though the MACD came down, we still made another high. So that could happen here, where we look like, okay, we're going to start coming down, right? The momentum to the bear side is lessening, as you can see by this bar, but it doesn't mean that we can't come, make a nice retracement up here and then still come down once more, even with the MACD potentially looking like this. Like our MACD could still look like this and eventually flip, but at the same time, Bitcoin could still do this. And then we get a reversal, even though the MACD was like kind of nice and smoothed out the whole time. So that can happen. So I don't want to get anyone too excited by that. So monthly to me, when I look at the monthly, I'm not too impressed with it as far as from a bullish standpoint. Now, if we get down to the lower time frames, we do look more bullish. For example, here on the weekly, we are in those oversold areas, right? We came up out of that. We did make a MACD cross, even though it's not the sharpest of crosses. You'd like to see it have a little bit more, but sometimes it can still gain momentum even after it. Like here, we started slow momentum and then it gained momentum. So that is still a possibility where it's slow momentum here, but it could gain momentum over time. So good to see that cross. Again, still trading right around that 200. So nice. It'd be nice to finally break above that 200. And as you guys can see here, we have a huge decision coming for Bitcoin right here, guys. Look at this. Not only do we have a meeting of the 200 moving average, but we also have a meeting of our long-term trend line in this falling wedge. So this right here is the decision, and it is coming soon. It is coming within the next couple weeks, right? We will get a decision, right? Bitcoin's kind of slowly moving up here. I think it will eventually hit here. I think there's a chance we even actually come out, which happens very frequently. If you see like a trend line like this, big money, here's what they want to do. They want to break this trend line to like fake a bunch of people out. They want to trap a lot of long traders and stop out anyone who was just going to trade a short off the trend line. They would love, and I would not be surprised at all, to see a actual nice push above this trend line, maybe even breaking above the 200 like this, before potentially immediately getting shot right back down under the 200 and then back into, right? That's a possibility. We could also almost do what we did with the short-term falling wedge, you'll see, where we actually broke out. I'm just going to delete this. So I'll show you in a minute what happened to our, if I can actually, I want to be able to delete those faster. We could do this falling wedge here. I'll show you in the lower time frames. We broke out, right? And then we did this and we grinded along the bottom, right? And then we came up again and then we broke down again and then we got the move, right? So that is another, I'd say, potential possibility here, is that we do come up, we break the trend line, we break the 200, we get a bunch of people bullish, then it's a liquidity grab. We get shot down, we grind, pop up once more, grind down again, then we're hitting kind of those lower levels. We swoop the liquidity from this level, right? A lot of people with stop losses right here. Big money would love to come down and break this low, and potentially on a retest too of our wedge here, break this low, grab a bunch of liquidity, and then make the move up. So I think that is a very strong scenario that would validate the falling wedge pattern and what's happening there. It would validate kind of what the bottom I think would be, which would make a lot of sense for it to have one more low, but obviously it's not going to go as low as people who think it's going to go like 10,000. It's not going to go that low. It never goes as low as everyone thinks it's going to go. It never goes as high as everyone thinks it's going to go. It's always somewhere in between. So I would not be surprised to see this scenario right here play out. I would not be surprised one bit. Because again, big money wants to get as many people to try to sell their Bitcoin as possible. And so how do you do that? You trap traders, you reject down, you try to break that previous low. get a bunch of people to panic sell, and then big money takes it up. So that is what I think could be a very plausible scenario for us, guys. But we'll see. Maybe this was the bottom. We made a nice little double bottom. We'll come up. I still think we are definitely going to run into a lot of resistance right here, right? And then maybe we break up, and then we come down and we retest the 200, or we retest the trend line. Then, we see a break from this range here. Again, probably then a retest of that range, and then continuation. So we will see. Our decision here is coming in the next couple weeks, which is kind of perfectly aligned because November is when we are supposed to see our bottom. So it's possible that come, October. Well, that would play, my other scenario would play out well if we bottomed in November, because then we grind, we come down one more low, and then by that time, we're around the beginning of November. And so maybe that's when we'll finally get some action. Oh, delete. All right, let's jump down to a shorter time frame. Bitcoin had another pump today. I know it doesn't look that way on the charts, but when you're on the 1 minute charts, it definitely looks pretty intense. As you can see, MACD pretty strong. We're still in the midway of our RSI, showing we still have some upside. So even though we might come down a bit, it's likely that we'll still continue to come up. And again, that over potential bought RSI, I think, is going to happen probably near the top of this trend line. So once again, we might have more confluence of a potential, breakdown, because we're going to be in overbought territory on the daily and the trend line and that 200 moving average. So there's a lot of resistance that we need to break through, and there could be a nice fake out there, honestly. So be wary about that. As you can see, we tested these previous range highs here. I drew this little box. We retested it. We tried to break above it, and we got shot back down. It actually trapped me in a trade on that pump there. And also, if we do our Fibonacci, you can see, where are you, Fibonacci? We can see that we are right here at the 0.5 retracement level. We had resistance here, of course, previous. Now we're retesting it again, and we have a nice, what's looking like, and again, it still has another 17 hours. What could be sort of a doji. Right now, it kind of looks between a doji and a hammer. Right now, obviously with a hammer, you want to see it close down lower and not have that other wick there in the front. But that is currently looking like a potential reversal candle at a important Fibonacci level in a longer term downtrend. So it very well, we could get a breakdown. And I think it's actually pretty likely and makes a lot of sense for us to actually break down and retest our previous trend line here, this uptrend, to kind of see if we'll continue. And I do think we will continue the trend. I don't think we'll break below and continue down. I think we will. I think we will have a temporary breakdown and then retest our trend line. And then I think we'll bounce up again. And then we'll see. Maybe then at that point, we'll probably make a higher high. We'll come down again. We'll retest this previous, what was once resistance will now turn into support. We'll get supported, and then we'll come up, and then that's when the decision will be made. Right around the end of September, we should start making contact with this trend line. And that's when the big decision, guys, on whether or not this bear market is got some more nasty action for us. 12 hour, you can see kind of the same thing. We're starting to lose a little bit of momentum. We're getting up in the overbought area. Same thing. We're actually contacting the 200 moving average here on the 12 hour. And as you can see, last time we made contact with the 12 hour, it did plunge us down on the 12 hour. So it is a very strong resistance. So I don't think we'll see as dramatic a plunge as we did back in August, but I do believe that we've got some retracement downside, in which case we'd be looking at maybe a 618 retracement. That would be perfect here, guys. We have a 618. We break down. We come right down to the 618 retracement level right here, and that's when we get a nice support line. So that would be something that I would definitely see happening. So I'm definitely looking for, I'd say, short positions, especially since we're getting a nice rejection candle at that resistance line. And even like the 4 hour, for example, you know, we're way overbought here. We're even actually flipping here on the MACD right now, breaking below the 50 on the RSI, showing some bearish momentum. Also the pattern, if you look at the pattern too, it does look like a bit of a rising wedge pattern. Get out of here. Delete this thing. Get out of here. Fine. It's going to make me manually delete it. Whatever. Anyway, as you can see, we're making a bit of a rising wedge pattern with that one. Well, you can call it two things. You have sort of a rising wedge here, but then you also could, with this trend line, you could call it a broadening, ascending channel. Both are bearish. Both have bearish breakdowns, right? So even if it's, regardless if it's whichever pattern it is a bearish, has a bearish target. So the likelihood of us coming down, and there's even kind of more confluence too, because you know normally you would, on this type of negative pattern, you pretty much come down to where the pattern started. So once again, perfect confluence. If we, you know, putz around, let's say this one, or even maybe retest that one more time and get faked out again, which I don't think that'll happen just because I think there's a lot of, I don't imagine we'll break that wick, but it's possible. So anyway, regardless of it respects this pattern or this pattern, we break down, and then it's going to want to come down to the bottom of that wedge, which is perfectly aligned with the 618 Fibonacci retracement and would be aligned at our trend line. So I think I'm absolutely watching and waiting for this trend line to break, and then I will likely probably try to go in on a trade to short it down to a potential retracement level at the 618. Again, we do have oversold under the 50. We do have MACD flip right here. On the shorter time frames, again, it does look like we're kind of we're rounding. Gosh, go away. The way that this pattern is, it does look like it's sort of rounding, and it almost looks like it's kind of getting that Bart Simpson look where it kind of just like this, which again is bearish. So we could see like short term, you know, it could potentially have one more pump in it, right? Break the previous high, grab more liquidity, then break down. But I don't know. I have a feeling it's going to respect this pattern here just because we're already at such a strong resistance. We already tried to break above it and got rejected back with a huge wick, which is going to probably have a lot of volume in it. So I do think this other falling wedge will get more respected. We'll kind of go up and down in here and then have the breakdown back to the 618. And this is where we'll get our trend line, our 618, and this is where we'll continue the trend. We'll let our RSI reset a little bit, right? Come down a little bit into the mid ranges, and then it will eventually be able to come back up because we have to sort of sometimes give it more room to operate. On the very short time frame, again, still kind of in this general uptrend over the 200. Had a bit of almost like a head and shoulders type looking pattern right here, right? We've got a shoulder, head, and then potentially another shoulder right here, which would, you know, validate my previous thoughts about this being us breaking down negatively out of this, like so. So that would dump us out of the pattern. And guys, honestly, that price target comes decently. I know it's not a perfect drawing where I put it, but actually that actually has some decent confluence for that 618 that I've been talking about. So this potential head and shoulders here could play out, and we could get that breakdown a little sooner than I even thought, which actually makes sense because we're kind of getting squeezed right here between this trend line and this one. And if it wasn't for this, it actually would look like an ascending triangle, which would be bullish, but this kind of invalidated that. So definitely looking for some short positions in the short to midterm, as I do believe we will get a retracement out of this wedge here. Now, my trades, let's talk about them. Let's find my chart here. And some of the, not all these are actual trades I took. Some of them are just like trade ideas that I'm like, okay, if I was to take a trade, here's where I would take it. But then some of these actually are legitimate trades I took. So I'll show you which ones are the legitimate ones if I can remember. Yes, I can remember. Okay. First trade I took, and I'm going to get rid of this larger guy because it's actually kind of bugging me. There we go. So the first trade I took was a loss here. The reason I took it, and I will actually, yes. Okay. So let me pull this up here. So trade number one, we had come down, we had come back up, and we had a 3-line strike off of the moving average after we had sort of, basically broken underneath our 200 moving average. And I thought that the move was pretty strong. I think I was looking maybe at the 15 as well. Try to look at the 15 to kind of get an idea. I wish I knew. I had to put them kind of side by side to see where exactly. Anyway. Okay. So I did think that, you know what was happening? So we had a Heiken Ashi switch on the 15 where we switched to a red candle, and it even was printing what I use these RSI candles, these RSI bars right here, which kind of show me momentum. So on the 15, we had a Heiken Ashi switch, and we had an RSI bar turning red, which is means Heiken Ashi plus momentum, right? It's an extra confluence. However, that 15-minute candle hadn't fully printed. It was still about halfway for it to fully confirm. So I got a little eager, and I jumped in the trade. Now, during this trade, I saw that I was going to lose it because I saw this double bottom forming, and I saw that we were at, I don't think I even had this trend line necessarily drawn. I saw that we not only made a double bottom, but we also had our support from our trend. So literally right here I went, I'm going to lose this trade, most likely. But now I flipped, because now I think that, oh my gosh, if we, break above this neckline of this W, then, the target is this white line right here that I have. That's the price target. So as you can see, sorry about that. That's annoying. So as you can see, I entered into this trade as I was still in this trade, right as we broke our neckline and we closed a candle above it. I jumped into this long trade. So I did get stopped out of this position while I was actually winning this position. So I was able to nail this price target. Nice little actually 3-to-1 trade here after seeing this nice W pattern break. So that was pretty cool. We also had this nice volume spike here, which a lot of times when you get these volume spikes, you can almost draw a box like this. And then as soon as it breaks that range, sometimes it's a good time, not always, but it can be a good trade opportunity, because the volume means that a big player has stepped in and has put in a big order or orders. And so you can kind of expect the market to potentially reverse or move in a certain direction based on a big player has just entered the game, abnormal high volume. A lot of times on that candle, it means, it doesn't always mean a reversal. But again, look we're at this trend support level, big red candle, and then broke above, right? So seeing the big volume come in here, it break that range of that candle, seeing it break the top of this W pattern here, and also flip, see the momentum flipped to the full green candle. That means momentum plus Heiken Ashi switch, which actually I think I'm going to do that. Why does it keep moving me back? Oh my gosh. Now I lost my place. Why does it do that? Here we go. Sorry about that. So we had the Heiken Ashi switch along with the green candle switch. So I went ahead, jumped in, won this long position. Then, I can actually move this over here because I won it way over there. Then was watching price. Then we came down. We had another, and it's not crazy, but at the time it was crazier than these other ones, kind of make it look pale in comparison now, but saw again an abnormal volume spike right here. So I went ahead and made a box kind of around, actually technically the box should be like that based on that full candle. Again, we're at a trend support, so we do have one confluence there of the trend. We do have this abnormal volume spike on this candle. We broke back up, so I actually went ahead and entered into another quick, and I think there was something else that I saw that I'm trying to remember what it is that I saw on that particular. Okay, come on now. What is this? Oh my gosh. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm trying to remember what it is. I saw something else that caused me to. And now I've suddenly lost all my work here. Guys, I'm sorry about this. This is really annoying me that it's charts are doing this. Well, I'll have to look back. I'll have to, maybe the next video I'll go through it again, because there was something else that I saw besides breaking this range that, oh, you know what it was? There was on the 15-minute, I'm pretty positive on the 15-minute there was a 3-line strike bullish engulfing candle that was forming on this. And I was like, oh my gosh, like that's a fat 3-line strike off 15-minute, which is more powerful move. So I hopped into that trade, and I was able to win that trade right there. So I was like, feeling pretty good about myself. 2 trades in a row. Then we took this one here. I need to journal these right away because here we go. So this one was pretty self. So this one actually identified this rising wedge pattern right here. We were also at this trend line that I had seen had been respected once and twice right there. So we're coming to this trend line. I'm like, okay, cool. Trend line, possible rejection. I see this bearish pattern. So I'm thinking, okay, trend line plus a bearish pattern. Plus what signaled me, I saw this huge volume spike right here. And I was like, okay, someone's making a move, right? A big player just put in something. So did they go long or short? That's what I was kind of wondering. And I thought, okay, well, we have a bearish pattern. We're coming up to a resistance line. They probably are going short. Whoever this big. Why does it keep? Oh my gosh, I'm so mad right now. That is so frustrating, guys. I want to. Yes, okay. So I kind of made a guess based on the pattern, based on the volume. Like, I think whoever it is, she is going short. And as soon as we broke this pattern convincingly, I went ahead and jumped in. I think I even waited to get the momentum confirmation of that red candle, and because we had already had the Heikin-Ashi switch. Because if you guys can see the red outline means that this did Heikin-Ashi switch, but then the green shows that the momentum was still to the upside. But as soon as we switched momentum, I went ahead and jumped in the trade. I know it shows that I lost this trade. On Bybit, which this is not the Bybit chart, I actually won this trade. It actually came down to 21,573. Even though on this chart it didn't, I still actually won it according to the Bybit chart. It came down and hit my target. So I know it looks a little weird, but I actually won that trade, so that was pretty cool. So I was feeling pretty good. That was 3. Wait, I had 1 win, 2 win, 3 win. Okay, and then I'm trying to remember if this was. Some of these sometimes I don't actually take the trade. I just throw kind of a demo trade. Some of them I do actually, like the ones I'm telling you, I did actually trade legitimately. And then some of these I just kind of like this. I think this is one I just kind of threw up just to see like if I was to take a trade there, what might happen. Because I don't recall. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I just won those 3. Won those 3. I lost the first one. I won those 3. And then I did get trapped on a long up here. I think I showed it on a different chart. I did take a trade when we kind of broke through this range. And I was up for a bit. I was up for, I was up a decent amount. But I think I got a little too greedy with my profit target. Like I had already hit a 2-to-1 risk to reward win, but I had it set to like a 3 because I thought it had more potential. And so it dropped down, hit my stop loss. So you could technically say I was just being a little greedy. I could have just taken the 2-for-1 and won the trade, but I guess I thought I had a little bit more power, more oomph in it, but I ended up getting stopped out. And then these are just like little demo trades. I kind of just like, oh, let's see if I was to take a trade here, what would happen. And so I kind of was like, saw some stuff on here, rejection, 3-line strike, move on to the 200. I thought, let's see what happened, So those are just another demo trade, which did not work. obviously. So anyway, 342 on trades there. So as you can see, guys, I'm kind of my strategy right now. I'm really digging the Heiken Ashy plus the momentum switches. Sometimes they're a little bit of a late signal. Like on this one, you can see we didn't switch momentum until all the way down here. So you still could have caught a pretty decent move off of that if you had just gotten in, like, say you gotten in like after this candle. Right, you still could have, you know, and you maybe kept your stop loss. So you kept it over like the 21, right? Because you were like, keep it kind of over the 21. We drop all the way down. Maybe take it to the trend line. I mean, that's a 2-to-1 right there. Even if you just take it off the first switch of momentum at the end, took profit at the trend line. I mean, that's 2-to-1. So I saw that happening, but I was a little gun shy at that point. I didn't feel quite good about getting in, but obviously it would have been a nice trade. There's another little demo trade I took where I kind of saw we broke back under the 21. We broke past, or we were trying to break past the 200. So I just kind of took a fun demo trade that ended up working out. And then lost that one. So, ooh, what's happening right now? I got some green momentum going here, guys. It's so crazy when you look at this time frame and then you jump back and you're like, what's going on in the longer time frames? Because it just looks so crazy up close like that. Yeah, okay. Well, it could be, like I said, we could see a push up to the top here, which would actually make a lot of sense because we did get this, you know, one more push up, even maybe coming up to this trend line here before getting rejected back down to my other predictions. Now, I did want to show you guys the, let's actually check out the DXY because I've been keeping an eye on the DXY and it's been pretty chill. It's been, we broke down. We came up, as you can see, we have not switched to momentum, came back down again. However, this is potentially making a bit of a double bottom here if it holds. I mean, that's a little bit of a triple bottom right here on the second bottom. It's a 382 retracement. And also on the longer time frame, this is the 618 retracement level on this longer fib here from this uptrend, right? Uptrend came down. Here's 618. So there is some support here. So I'm not surprised to see the DXY get a bounce and then even getting support here on a potential double bottom. So what we're really waiting for, especially with any of the risk assets, I'm essentially waiting for this sort of to play out and get to this trend line. Because once it gets to this trend line, we'll have more of a decision on, you know, we break it up to the upside, then all the risk assets are going to dump. If we get rejected and continue down, making a potential lower low, then we can look for long positions on the risk assets because we know the DXY is going to kind of go to the next leg down. So essentially, we're just going to be in this consolidation probably until we hit this trend line, and then we'll see a decision. And so right now, some of the risk assets are kind of just like slowly kind of going up. Like you can see here, the NASDAQ is at a really strong long-term resistance here, and it's kind of chilling. You know, it's oversold in the RSI, bearish divergence. So there are some signs that we could see a bit of a reversal on the NASDAQ, and then you got the US 30, which has a little bit more room to the upside before it runs into its trend line. So it could potentially just kind of, I see potential next day or two, some choppiness, just choppiness. Because the DXY is looking choppy and it needs to take time to get to its trend line. US 30 needs to sort of take time to get to its trend line. And then NASDAQ, it's kind of already at its trend line. But still a lot of bullish momentum. As you can see, that was a trade idea I had based on the 15-minute smiley candle. I didn't take this trade, but I had sort of was wondering, like, okay, if I did, what would that have looked like? And I might have just barely won it if I had taken it, but I just thought things were still looking bullish, still over the 21. Still, the DXY is still just potentially even looking bullish if it double bottoms, you know. So I'm like, I don't feel great about that trade. But you could have maybe got a 1-to-1.5 there on that guy. But as you can see, it's pretty bullish. It's still fighting with it's got a lot of resistances on it. We've got long-term trend resistance here. We've got this previous support flipped. Oh, we're getting a buy signal here. Okay. So it's got that previous resistance as well as moving averages, and so we'll see. We'll see if it can have the strength to continue to break. And I guess, you could make the case that, this trend line here is going to be a lot stronger. So it could easily, break through this one here, shorter term, and then come up to this one. And that's when we'd get, previous resistance right here, which was pretty strong, which would be resistance again, and we get this long-term trend line. So that's where you'd see more of a decision. So maybe a little more upside on the NASDAQ. Kind of curious that US 30 signal, US 30 buy signal here. I don't know if it was showing up on the 15 maybe. I'm not seeing it right now. So guys, that is pretty much all I got for you. I guess the only other thing I wanted to look at was the Bitcoin dominance chart. See if I have it up here ready to go. That is not the Bitcoin. Oh, here we go. It's this one. The good old Bitcoin dominance chart here is at a strong support level. Oh, wow. That has acted as support once, twice, and 3 times. And you can see it even is forming a potential double bottom here. So this is a bullish, very bullish thing for Bitcoin, right? However, I think over time, even Bitcoin will go up. I still think the dominance will eventually continue to go down because you just got so many new cryptos coming in. And I still think Bitcoin is the best of them all, easily. But it doesn't mean that over time, the market share, just so many new coins and different things. Although then again, I guess the counter argument to that is, well, I mean, people get burned by these altcoins all the time. I got burned by Terra Luna. I got burned by StepN. I got burned by NFTs. I get, you get burned by enough cryptos that you're like, I'm just going to buy Bitcoin. And what's crazy too, guys, is if you talk to the real rich people and you're like, man, what's your secret? Like, what'd you do to get rich? A lot of them, if you their investing plan was like, yeah, I just bought index funds every week. Or, oh, I just bought real estate. Or, oh, I just, it's very basic. They did kind of the boring thing. Right? We want the exciting thing. I want the Dogecoin, Shiba Inu, get rich quick. The play to earn StepN, the Terra Luna, right? We're looking for this fast cash, this quick money, this exciting, nature of investing. But then the people who are really rich, they literally just have like super, super basic investment plans where they just keep DCAing into Bitcoin and Ethereum, or they DCA into index funds, or they DCA into their business, and that's it. It's like super boring, super basic. So I've kind of mentally been shifting my brain to be like, okay, I know buying Bitcoin is boring, but it's safe. I believe in it for the long term. Might as well keep my investing plan kind of basic. And again, I'm someone who's very involved with my investments, so I do still have a lot of altcoins, like I have a lot of them. But I'm kind of slowly transitioning to just mainly buying Bitcoin and, spending a smaller percentage of my portfolio on altcoins and stuff, because I'm just like, all the rich 1% people, they're basic, man. They kind of stick to what they know. They just reinvest into the safe things that have a decent yield, and they just consistently do that. They allocate a certain percentage of their portfolio to more risky stuff, and they just do it. It's boring, but I mean, it works. So I believe in Bitcoin. I'm buying more Bitcoin. Again, I'm not a financial advisor. It's not financial advice. Do your own research. This is for entertainment purposes only, but I'm kind of going to pretty much be buying like 80% Bitcoin from here on out. 20%. Again, you guys know I like ADA. You guys know I still do like Ethereum. I have a decent amount of money in Polkadot. I have money in, those are kind of my main ones. I really like the Sandbox, and Polygon. I've got a good bag of those. I have smaller bags of things like XRP or BNB or AVAX. Like those are much smaller bags. And then that's pretty much it, guys. I'm not too extravagant with my cryptos. I still kind of stick to the main ones, and I have a few dark horses. But a lot of my money right now, as a lot of people's are, is kind of going more towards rent and food, and things are all more expensive now. So don't have quite as much of the capital to allocate to investments, especially after, getting burned by Luna and losing a big chunk of cash there, getting burned by StepN, losing a big chunk of cash there. I did actually get my wallet hacked a year ago because I was a stupid newbie in crypto and I gave up my seed phrase. And that was about $15,000 worth of Solana and ADA at the time that got wiped out of my wallet. So, yeah. And then, of course, all my other investments are all down, right? Because the market's down. All my Bitcoin, my Ethereum is down. All my altcoins are down. So I do have helium as well. I do mine helium. So, yeah, I don't have a whole lot of extra. This isn't a bull run where I'm constantly taking profit left and right and then reinvesting it, right? It's kind of slim pickings right now. I'm sure a lot of people, you're in the same boat as me. So I invest what I can into Bitcoin, Ethereum, the main ones, a few dark horses, and let it stake, lend it out on. I try to always get some sort of yield for it, whether it's staking somewhere or whether it's I'm lending it out for traders on Beefy Finance. I like to use because they auto compound it for you. So if you guys want videos on that, comment below if you guys want more videos on what I'm doing in DeFi. And I can shift and do some of that as well. But guys, as always, make sure to save your money, grow your money, buy some Bitcoin, because we all know that fiat currency is the ultimate meme coin. It is going to zero because they can just print it to oblivion. So make sure you opt out of that system, opt into Bitcoin, real money, capped currency. And US 30 again, signaling me again. Where is this buy signal? I don't see it. I want to see my smiley face to see if we got an actual real signal here. I'm not seeing it. Anyway, guys, see you on the next one.